Alright, you do not need to have monk mode type discipline to manifest. Nathan, what on earth do you mean by that? What I mean is, okay, cool. Within hustle culture, especially on Instagram Reels, right? They'll be telling you all the fucking time, yo, you gotta make sure you're waking up at 6 a.m., taking a cold shower, reading a book for 1 hour. What else? They say meditate for 1 hour, 30 minutes. Do 20 push-ups. What other shit do they say? Just all the extra stuff, right? The shit that doesn't actually get you to the point that you want to get to. Because let's be real, there are millionaires that wake up at fucking 2 p.m. in the afternoon, mate. Like, there are millions that wake up at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, mate. Bro, do you really think that the time that you wake up is what makes you successful? If that was the case, the people who wake up, the nurses who wake up early in the morning for their extremely long hour shifts would be the richest people in the world, right? Now, cool, I'm not trying to say that you should not wake up early. That is not what I'm saying here. If you want to wake up early, if waking up early is something you need to do in order for you to achieve your goals, then do wake up early. What I'm trying to say here is that people focus on things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, because at the end of the day, the only thing that gets you to where you want to go is your frequency. And your frequency isn't based upon whether you wake up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. It isn't based upon whether you smoke or whether you drink or not, or whether you have sex or not, or whether you're a monk or not. Your frequency is simply placed upon what you think your identity is. Not what you think, but what you know your identity to be, who you are, right? It is, okay, cool. There are 7 keys to your frequency. Now, 7 is the number of completion, okay? Like they say, God made the earth within 7 days. There are 7 days in a week. Okay, 7 is the number of completion. Okay, I'm going to put it in order, but the order does not signify, or I guess tell you their importance. Right? They're all on the same level of importance, and at the end of the day, at the end of the day, they all intertwine, because they all working on one tends to work on the other. Now, the 7 keys of your frequency are your focus, your beliefs, your perception, your expectations, your reactions, your conviction, your emotionally charged thoughts, right? And those are the corner centers of your frequency. Those are the energy centers that make up your frequency, okay? And as long as those are in alignment with something, then it doesn't fucking matter whether you drink or smoke or not, whether you have sex or not, whether you, I don't know, do heroin or not. Okay, it doesn't. I'm not endorsing doing heroin. Don't do that, guys. Okay. Anyways, but it doesn't matter whether you do that shit or not. Okay. The only thing that matters is whether your frequency is in accordance with that. This means that you don't have to be the hardest working nigga in the fucking world, right? Because let's be real, if hard work is what it took to, I don't know, I guess in this case, be extremely successful, have a lot of money, the richest people would be the labor workers. And evidently, that's not the fucking case, is it, mate? So, the best type of work isn't hard work, and it also isn't smart work, but rather it is work on a multi-dimensional level. And what I mean by this is working on all 3 planes, because whether you believe it or not, there are 3 different planes. Okay, there is the spiritual plane, there is the mental plane, and there is the physical plane. Now, the spiritual and mental plane are the realms of cause, while the physical plane is the realm of effect. Now, I guess some ways to make it easier for you to extrapolate the spiritual and mental plane and the physical plane are, I guess, within the spiritual and mental plane resides your subconscious mind and your frequency. Okay, and like I already explained what your frequency was. Go back and watch the video again if you didn't hear me, because that means you're not paying attention. And if you're not paying attention, that means you're not extracting anything from this video, because where attention goes, energy flows. Now, back to my main point: spiritual and mental plane, subconscious mind, and frequency, etc. Okay, all within that area. Physical plane is the effect. Spiritual and mental plane is the cause. The subconscious mind, whatever is in the subconscious mind, is literally what is outputted into your reality. Your subconscious mind is literally forever playbacking a feedback loop which causes the exact same circumstances, the exact same type of events to occur in your life, and the exact same habits that you have, the exact same type of actions that you take to occur in your life. It perpetuates the identity that you have and the worldview that you live in. Okay? Now, the reason why you don't need to be a monk is because all it takes is simple alignment on all 3 planes. This is why someone who doesn't work anywhere as hard as you can actually be doing way better than you. purely because they are multidimensionally aligned with that thing that it is that you want. Whether it is more money, whether it is 20k a month, whether it is better relationships, whether it is confidence, anything. It can really be anything, because in the realm of manifestation, everybody has different desires. Everybody has different things that they want in an attempt to become whole again. All right. Now, cool. Knowing that you don't need to be a monk is kind of refreshing, isn't it? It's kind of refreshing. And cool. This doesn't mean that you can't, or you don't have to be disciplined. Because when I'm talking about discipline, I don't think discipline is doing something which you are extremely uncomfortable doing. I think discipline is as simple as being disciplined within your mental model, being disciplined within the way that you think, within the way that you perceive, within the way that you expect, within the way that you react, within the emotionally charged thoughts that you allow to be the strongest. Okay? Because the more disciplined you are in your frequency, the more likely it is of you actually having that reality, living within that worldview, living within that reality. Because think about it this way: the person who has the state of consciousness of a fit person, it isn't a drag for him to go to the gym every morning. It isn't a drag for him, Shikamaru reference there if you've watched Naruto, sorry, but it isn't a drag for him to go to the gym in the morning. It isn't a drag for him to I guess, meal prep. It isn't a drag for him to eat high protein meals. It isn't a drag for him to eat chicken and rice every day. It is the norm to him. And it's not something that he's disciplined in, rather, but it is something that he's disciplined in, but it's not disciplined in the form of, oh, I fucking hate this, but I'm doing it anyway. It's discipline in the form of, I don't want to do this. I don't want not to do this. Sorry, I've kind of messed up the wording there. I don't want to do this, but at the same time, it's not like I dislike doing this. It's just something I do. That is what it is. It is part of his identity. The same way that brushing your teeth, you probably don't brush your teeth just because, I don't know, it feels amazing or you feel motivated to do it. You brush your teeth just because it's something you do. Say you've injured your wrist, right? You've injured your wrist. You still brush your teeth, like man. You still brush your teeth, even if you injure your wrist. You still like go through that pain anyway and just brush your teeth regardless, or maybe just use the other hand instead and still just brush your teeth, because it is something that you do. It isn't like a thing where it's like, oh fuck it, I'm that hard grown man. I'm a tough woman, so it doesn't matter how difficult it is. I'm gonna do it regardless. That's not where it is. It's simply just something that you do because it is what your identity is. It is what aligns with your identity. And when it even comes to the realm of taking proper action, right? Taking action, right, does have the ability to change reality. But I guess not really a problem, but I guess what makes it more difficult to change reality just by working on one plane, which is the effect, is it takes a lot of fucking repetition to do so. Like a lot of fucking repetition. This is why, like I said, that person working multi-dimensionally will get to that place faster and more efficiently than you ever will if you're just working on one plane. And when I say working on one plane, I'm not just talking about only working on the physical plane where you're only working hard. I'm also talking about only working on the spiritual mental plane where you're just changing your frequency and just visualizing in order to change your subconscious, what's going on in your subconscious mind, right? You need to work on all three planes. Change your frequency, change what's in your subconscious, change your actions as well. But at the end of the day, it will be a thing where it works like this, okay? Frequency, intuition, right? Your frequency is what your intuition stems from. And everybody knows what intuition is. Intuition is derived from the two words inner and guidance, right? So intuition is inner guidance. And you get inner guidance from from the frequency that you're calibrated at. And because you're calibrated at this frequency and you get that intuition then creates compelling thoughts, or thoughts that compel you to take action. And then action is taken, and then that action has an effect on reality. But what can magnify the effect of that action is the frequency that you're in when you're taking that action. This is why someone can take the exact same type of action as you, but because that action has a different energy attached to it, that action has a completely different effect. You cannot take an action in the realm of fitness while being in the state of unfitness. You cannot take an action in the realm of wealth while being in a state of poverty. It may even have a change on the effect temporarily, but it will eventually always come crashing down right back to the energy that accompanied the action. It's as simple as that. You cannot change an effect with an effect. It must be changed with a cause, okay? Now, this is why people who smoke, drink, have a lot of sex, whatever, the things that they tell you not to do, the vices that they tell you to kill, to never have. I actually don't do any of those things, to be honest. Anyway, the vices, the vices that they tell you not to do, not to have. The vices that they tell you not to do and not to have, right? You'll see a lot of people who have those vices yet are still very fucking successful in life because they understand. This may be even something they only understand like unconsciously. It's not something that they even know consciously, but a lot of people do know this consciously. And the people that know consciously, like, they know that all it takes is adjusting your frequency to a certain point, and then from then on, it's fucking cash money. All right, shout out to Rob CMC. That guy's fucking jokes, man. That guy's TikToks are hilarious. Anyways, it's cash money from there. You get me? Cash money city, baby. You are literally going to experience that reality from then on. And yeah, that is really it. Because within this video, I basically told you why you don't really need to have that monk mode discipline and what discipline really is. Discipline isn't, think about it this way, all right? For the man them, I know you man are playing FIFA all fucking night long, right? You were playing FIFA all night long with your boys back in the day, secondary school days, right? It did not feel like discipline to play FIFA for 2-4 hours straight, 6 hours straight, right? It didn't feel like something that was, because it was something that was attached to identity. You are a person who loved gaming or still loves gaming. So therefore, playing games doesn't feel like something that you have to be disciplined in. It's just something that you do, which is what I'm trying to say. You have to get to that state so that the action that you're taking is in alignment with the state, so that the state is in alignment with the action, and it's just something that you do, not something that takes a crazy amount of discipline. The only discipline within the space is the discipline in your frequency, keeping your frequency calibrated at the same level, because keeping your frequency calibrated at the same level, like I said, it creates those compelling thoughts that compels you to take action, which actually affects reality. And that is really it. Because if you can take those actions that are accompanied with that level of energy, those actions are going to have a magnitude of an effect. And also, falling into the trap of self-hate, right? Hating yourself or decreasing your self-worth due to the actions that you've taken, or having a lack of self-forgiveness. Those three things, it is literally detrimental to you, because if you're thinking, oh, you're not even worthy of this, you hate yourself, etc., because of these vices, it's only going to stop you from achieving whatever it is you're trying to manifest. So what you should simply do is just detach from the vices. If you do it, oh, okay, I did it, but that's got nothing to do with my frequency. That shit ain't stopping me. It's got nothing to do with my frequency. Forgive yourself. Oh, I did this. People make mistakes, man. It is what it is. Your self-worth, man. You're only able to experience what you deserve, what you think you deserve, what you know you deserve. That's the only thing you're able to experience. Your energetic ceiling is literally based upon things you've already emotionally experienced. And things you've already emotionally experienced ties into what you think or know you deserve. And there you go. That is really it, fully encompassed. That is really it, fully encompassed, to be honest with you. And yeah, you don't need to be a monk to get to where you want to get to, all right? It is simple as using the techniques prescribed, right? The technique of creating an imaginative scene where you have achieved what it is that you want. The technique of reframing a hidden pattern you've seen as a child. Sorry, you've seen occur as a child, which is therefore, because it's a hidden pattern, which is in your subconscious mind, which, you know, creates a feedback loop, which then perpetuates that exact same circumstance or circumstances similar to that circumstance in nature in your life. You then reframe that pattern, either through one, you know, reframe your perspective, or two, changing the pattern, changing what occurred that day completely, because, you know, you're abusing the fact that your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between past or future, because it's only as a concept of the present within it. You therefore allow for yourself to change your life, right? You do not have to be a monk, people. You do not have to be a monk. What was that one Dave bar, fam, in one of his new songs, where he said, what did he say? He said, I don't want to be a bad guy, but at the same time, I also want to be myself. Or I want to be a good guy, but at the same time, I also want to be myself. Something like that. That bar fucking hits me. It's a cold bar. But anyway, that is really all it is entirely, okay? Stop thinking that your vices, or smoking, or sex, or drinking, or partying, or whatever is stopping you from where you want to go. Cool, it can be, but only if you allow it to. Because people like to say, a friend of mine likes to spam this a lot, he likes to say, you can't have your cake and eat it. And I say, fuck that notion. Because at the end of the day, the life that you live is simply what is internal. The life that you live is simply a perpetuation of your beliefs. If you believe that you can't have your cake and eat it, then you can't have your cake and eat it. But that quote doesn't even fucking make sense to me. You can't have your cake and eat it. So what the fuck is the point of having the cake if I can't eat the fucking cake? If I have the cake, surely the cake is there for it to be eaten, right? Or is the cake just there for it to fucking spoil, or just for me to fucking watch it? I don't know. But anyways, like I was saying, I say fuck that. You can have your cake and eat it. You can have your cake and eat it. Okay? And you should say fuck that too. You can have your cake and eat it. Because there's no need to limit yourself. A belief that doesn't serve you simply just limits you. And you just need to change that belief. And how you can change that belief? The first step, simple as believing that beliefs can easily be changed. Because your belief about whether beliefs can be changed or not is also a belief, whether you believe it or not, no pun intended. Your belief about your beliefs, change that. Watch your beliefs change. Easily change it. Reframe the patterns that are already within your life. And live the desired life that you want to live. Also, cool. Stop. I don't know how my pinky finger came out there. Stop calling your vices vices. They're just a part of you. They're just a part of your identity. You can be a nigga who smokes and makes $1 million a month. You can be a nigga who drinks and makes 10 million a month. All right. You are that fucking guy. You are that woman. You are that person. All right. Always remember that. All right. Try to stay on the positive pole as much as possible. Obviously, due to the law of rhythm, there's going to constantly be a pendulum swing back to the negative side of the pole. But I mean, negative and positive, they're only labels that we attach to things based upon whether they are the poles that we want to be in or not. Really, they just are poles that exist, okay? So you're going to go from one side of the pole to the other due to the pendulum swing. When that happens, all it takes is a simple recalibration, a simple reframing of perspective or of what has actually occurred to get yourself back to that point that you want to be at. And the reframing can be simple as fully feeling the emotions, the negative emotions that you're feeling from the adversity or from the lack of what it is you want, to then get into a state of neutrality, because going from the middle point to the high point is easier than going straight from the low point to the high point. So if you go from the low point to the midpoint being the state of neutrality, and then you can then go to the high point, the state of positivity. Boom. And that is really it for, I guess, a more in-depth video on, I guess, reframing subconscious mental blocks, childhood patterns. Just look on my channel. That's the Nathan? No, I'm not asking you to call me, guys. Sorry, just look on my. Alright, what am I doing this with? Anyways, just look on my channel. Yeah, I think the 2 videos before this one, or the video before this one, if that makes sense to you, is a video on reframing childhood traumas, talking about childhood traumas, talking about how your childhood basically determines the type of life that you live, and how your childhood is the best book that you can possibly read. Okay, yeah, that is pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you guys later. Love.